Hello, and welcome to this Hudl webinar, the start of our newest series on high-performance workflows in elite sport, specializing in global football. My name is Austin Fuller, the Regional Director of our Customer Solutions team here at Hudl. I've had the pleasure of working in elite sport for more than 18 years in professional rugby and professional football. Our Hudl Pro Service team has designed these series of content with you in mind, the industry experts, many of whom we are proud to call our customers and partners. Today, we'll be focusing on these two high-performance workflows, pre-match opposition analysis and post-match analysis and review. We will go over high-performance processes as well as workflows using the Hudl Pro Suite ecosystem. We'll also be talking about the personas involved, from performance analysts to coaches to sports directors, and how everyone in an organization can use these processes and workflows. Before I get started, I want you to think how you would define what a high-performance workflow is at your organization, specializing in pre-match opposition analysis and post-match analysis. If we were going to break down an explanation of what a high-performance workflow is, you can simplify it in these two areas. The first area is evidence-based decision-making, or the insight that you generate. That could be from data, that could be from video, or that could be some subjective opinions from different people within your organization. This helps make more informed decisions, whether you're a coach, player, analyst, or even a senior leader at your organization. This is the space where you spend most of our time as practitioners, trying to develop that insight to make the decision that you need using evidence. However, the other part of this high-performance workflow is what we call workflow efficiency or time savings. If you reflect on your own workflow currently, pre- and post-match analysis, I'm sure you would highlight some key inefficient workflows that prevent you from improving the decision-making process. This is an area that is normally left to last. However, you can have some of the biggest benefit gains, enabling you more time to conduct projects or even answer further performance questions within your organization. Once you've watched this webinar, it's a great exercise to do to reflect and review on these two areas within your current workflow and how you can both improve in evidence-based decision-making, insight, and workflow efficiencies, time. The first high-performance workflow that we are going to focus on is pre-match opposition analysis. So why do we do pre-match opposition analysis? Ideally, what we're trying to do is create a game plan to beat the opposition. However, in some cases, if you're working in academies, this could be implementing your own game plan or game model associated with the opposition you're going to go and play. There are a number of key personas involved within this collaborative process, whether you're a performance analyst, head coach or assistant coaches, data specialists, whether that's data analysts, data scientists, or even data engineers, and also sports directors. So what value does Hudl offer within the pre-match opposition analysis process? Well, using our ecosystem, you can create highly efficient workflows to help you analyze the opposition, whether that's using event tracking or even subjective data to create more informed game plan to beat the opposition. Before we get into the workflows, I want to take a step back and understand a high-performance process. This can explain the steps you take within the pre-match opposition analysis process. Here is an example of a pre-built process for pre-match opposition analysis. We know some organizations' processes are a little different, but I'd ask you whether you have a clearly defined process at your organization. Use this as a framework to explain what you do within your department for each one of the workflows. However, it's key to understand the team game model within your organization. This enables you to use it within the pre-match and post-match opposition analysis process. It enables you to understand the data that you're trying to collect and also the video analysis part of the process. This provides a clear framework for coaches and analysts to work in collaboration with all of these processes. So once you've defined your process, we can then work on the actual workflows within the Hudl Pro Suite ecosystem. Here is an example of a full high-performance workflow within the Hudl Pro Suite ecosystem that a performance analyst can adopt to create an efficient workflow whilst providing evidence to make more informed decisions. You can notice there's a number of tools within our ecosystem that you can use. Within this webinar, we're going to be focusing on the data as a service, how you can use data more efficiently to understand the opposition. Then focusing on insight, how you can drive workflow efficiencies to automate some of that coding that you may have used to do. And then we'll focus on studio and how you provide that feedback in the pre-match and post-match workflows. However, when we're thinking about different personas within the workflows, you can see here that the workflow stays the same, but the head coaches or assistant coaches may use tools like Sportscode and Playlist to work in a collaborative way to provide evidence on how you're going to beat the opposition. That can be same for players using Hudl.com. And finally, creating a game plan to increase the chances of a successful performance. The second high-performance workflow that we're going to focus on is post-match analysis. So why do organizations do post-match analysis? Well, fundamentally, what you're trying to do is evaluate the team or individual's performance in relation to the game plan to finally achieve sustained success, whether that's as an individual development or as a team success. The key personas in post-match analysis are very similar to the pre-match opposition analysis, but there's more focus around the players within the post-match analysis process. The value that Hudl offers in the post-match analysis process is to provide customized context of your performance, team or individual, through automated workflows to increase that efficiency, but also links to your game model and game plan. It can also focus on individuals to develop them to have a knock-on effect to team performance. Here, you can see a high-performance process for post-match analysis. You can identify some key similarities to the pre-match opposition analysis. However, the flow and additional processes are added for like post-match media interviews or actually reviewing the game plan. Some organizations get the individual players to do their own analysis, depending if you're a first team or in academies. All these processes are linked that enables you to then go to the opposition analysis to move on to the next game. Here is a high-performance workflow, and you can see it's very similar to the pre-match opposition analysis workflow. But you're reviewing your own performance related to the game that you've just played. So you might be using things like data as a service very differently to analyze the individual or compare how you performed against the game plan. As a coach or a sports director, you might want to review the game on Hudl.com to see how you performed if you either weren't at the game as a sports director, or if as your head coach, you wanted to review the game in Sportscode to then feed back to the players. All these workflows can be changed depending on the data sources and also the amount of people you have within the organization. So let's dive into the product to find out how these work in real life. So what does a pre-match opposition analysis or post-match workflow look like? I want to start with data. Here is an example of our data as a service dashboards that we use to support teams with the decision-making process, but also workflow efficiency. A simple dashboard that you can use is you can have a look at the playing styles for the opposition or how you're playing against the game model that you stated. You can also choose the countries, competitions from the drop-down list, so you compare teams that play in a similar style to you. And also you can compare it across seasons. So in a post-match analysis, you might want to see how you've done across multiple seasons. As well as in a pre-match analysis, you might want to have a look at how the opposition has improved or changed over the years. You can also highlight specific teams that you can have a look at within the dashboard here from Data as a Service. This gives you an indication of how teams are performing in different metrics, whether that's tempo, whether that's general attack, or goals versus expected goals. This data can be customized depending on your game model and also change things like per 90s or the indexing that you may want to achieve within your workflow. Another dashboard that can be used is a simple dashboard to understand things like players playing within the squad, from heights you can see on the left-hand side, dates of birth, but also things like minutes played, who's been starting, and also who's come from the bench. A simple process that you can use in pre-match opposition analysis to monitor the starting team that potentially will play at the weekend. You could also use this as your own mechanism with your own team to monitor the amount of minutes played for each individual. This is a workflow efficiency, provide you to save you time looking at different opposition or your own performance. So starting here is a great way of being able to provide some insight through workflow efficiencies using data as a service within the Hudl ecosystem. The next stage on a high performance workflow after data as a service is Insight, the newest tool within the Hudl ecosystem. Insight provides workflow efficiencies as well as provided customized context. This will help you make better decisions faster than ever. Insight is a central tool where you can link platforms like Scout, league exchanges, and any other third-party data that you choose. If you're interested to understand what data providers are available, please contact your local Hudl rep who will explain exactly the data providers available from event and tracking. I want to show you an example of a pre-match or post-match analysis workflow using Insight. Here, I can choose a data source, and I'm going to choose Scout. You have the opportunity to search by team or player, depending if you're doing team analysis or individual analysis. If I wanted to search a specific team, like Salzburg, for example, I can choose that team. What Insight will do is fetch the data and the video from the platform directly in Insight. You can see here that we have the podcast video and also the tracking data, if available, as well as the Scout event data. You can also drag and drop any data you want from files into Insight. The benefit and the efficiencies within Insight is you can either have the hard copy downloaded to your desktop, or you can stream the video by clicking on Stream Video. You can then add as many games as you want into Insight to use as your pre-match or post-match analysis workflow. Once you've set your games, they'll appear on the right-hand side. It'll indicate whether you've got event, your lineups, tracking, or video data, and whether the data is loaded, ready to use. Once it's ready to use, you can move on to the video section. Here, you can import your own tactical footage that you may have recorded from your own cameras, or you can use footage from league exchanges or from Scout. You'll notice the games will appear on the left-hand side, and you'll be able to tag specific footage types with specific labels. So if I wanted to choose a video, I could automatically find it from the Wyscout database by adding video autofind. This will identify the video you want to add, and you simply add the video to the game. In addition, if you use league exchanges within the Hudl ecosystem, you can search across your league exchanges to find games that fit to your need within the pre or post-match opposition analysis workflow. Here, you can see I have access to specific league exchanges, and I can access the content. You'll only access the league exchanges that you have access to. Once you've added the video, you are ready to use Insight to use within your pre-match or post-match analysis process. Within Insight, we want to give you the possibilities to customize connected to your own team game model. On the left-hand side, you'll see our rules, and these can be adapted again to your team game model or how you're evaluating your team performance. The rules enable you to automate your coding process that you would see in Sportscode, which we'll show later. If you have data specialists within your organization, you can customize these scripts to whatever you want, depending on the data source you use. Or if you're a performance analyst, you can change the parameters here on the right-hand side to specific zones, durations, or even players involved. Each rule will indicate whether you need event and tracking data to produce the information you want. Each one of these rules can be customized, and you can add as many rules as you want. If you want to explore more about the rules, get in touch with your local AE at Hudl, and they'll be able to supply more information working with our solutions consultant team on how you develop these rules within Insight. Once you have your rules and your video and your data set up, this is where you can provide the context within your analysis process quicker than ever. Here you can see our dashboards. On the left-hand side, I have different dashboards set up for different parts of my game plan, whether that's finishing, progressions, set plays, high defending, or even our match exports. These dashboards are designed to use video and data to provide the insight that you're trying to drive, whether that's from a pre-match or post-match analysis process. So for example, if I want to have a look at the distributions from a goalkeeper, I can use the video here on the left-hand side in data tables, or I can visualize it in a field. Within Insight, you'll be able to do things like add heat maps automatically to look at the endpoints of where the distribution is coming from goalkeepers. So for me, this example in the game selected, you can see the goalkeeper's distribution is quite long. You can also formalize the data in the customized way you want. So for example, looking at goal kicks for a specific team, or if you wanted to have a look at open play distributions, including the goalkeeper, you can use the same visualization and the same filters to have a look in different aspects. Here, you can do very similar by adding the heat maps. You can choose the end or the start location, but also add overlays, things like event numbers, whether that's a percentage or by zone, is completely up to you. This provides insight to understand how maybe a goalkeeper is distributing or how your goalkeeper is distributing linked to your game model. Within this build-up, you can also have a look at sequences that start with a goalkeeper, and you can then define, using the filters on the right-hand side, what you're looking for. Specific start locations, specific players, and also specific end locations. So if I move the end location, you'll also notice the data table will change with the end locations. This will allow me to then analyze different sequences within the dashboards really efficiently. You'll also have access to things like past networks, where you can see tendencies of past relationships between players, whether that's in your own team, from a post-match analysis process, or in a pre-match opposition analysis process to help you set up when you're looking to defend a specific style of a team. Within Insight, you'll also have the ability to have a look at tracking data and use the visualizations of tracking to really drive and improve the understanding of how teams set up. Here, I'm using a broadcast tracking provider, and I can actually start using some of the insights to have a look at how they set up from defense and how the teams are setting up within their goalkeeper's goal kick. With the tracking and having an ability to use tracking data, within Insight, you can actually export the tracking angle as a video for Sportscode. This enables you to provide better feedback to players, to coaches in different workflows. Within Insight, you can also create charts to have a look at how players potentially are progressing with the ball up through the field. All of these dashboards are set ready for you to use on a regular basis across every opposition. Or you can create your own dashboards for each opposition, all depending on how you want to achieve your end goal. With the tracking, you also have the ability to have different overlays, and you can also do it between players. So if you want to link specific players, you can link specific players. So if I wanted to link 22 with 18, you'll notice I could connect these two players on the tracking widget. This provides you with extra level of context if you want to have a look at things like widths or depths of specific players within your team. Another example of a dashboard could be looking at finishing. So how do teams finish the attack? If you're looking at from crosses, where they cross the ball on a regular basis. So from here, the games I've selected, you can see the crossing from the right-hand side. You can see the players involved. And every single one of these icons are linked to video. So using the visualizations, I can access the video directly through Insight. You have other widgets like the goal, so you can have a look at shots and how they shoot within different ranges. And you can also have a look at the goals from different games, so you can compare them across multiple games. An important one for you may be set plays. Here, you can evaluate things like your corners. You can evaluate the free kicks, whether they actually shoot on a regular basis or actually set up for your set plays. Or you can have a look at throw-ins in specific zones. So here, I've specifically put throw-ins in the final third to see if teams go long or short within their throwing strategies. Or you can have a look at things like their deep free kicks. So you can actually use the filters on the right-hand side to evaluate how teams are actually setting up on deep free kicks. All of these are simple ways to be able to provide evidence to make better decisions. We also have things like high defending, where you can actually compare teams from high press, interceptions, regains, in different workflows, whether that's pre or post-match analysis. What I want to show you now is a really efficient workflow that you might use for a post-match analysis integrated with Sportscode. So here I have data tables set up with pre-built analysis that I want to conduct. So once a game is finished, I want to actually create timelines for each one of the games so I can add further levels of detail through Sportscode code windows. How would I do this in Insight? On the top right, you'll see an S. If you click on that, you can export a current dashboard to Sportscode or Studio. In this example, I want to create a timeline of every single one of the games individually so I can add more levels of subjective coding. By clicking timeline, I can send that content to Sportscode, and Sportscode will create the timelines I want for each one of the games. This is a really efficient workflow to prevent you having to spend hours and hours and hours coding different games. Here, you can see all the coding done for me automatically for each one of the games. I can then add my own subjective data through labels mode in code windows. So no more coding, multiple games in specific areas. Insight can do this for you to automate that workflow. Once you've done that, you can save this as a package, and you can then share this with a coach or support staff, depending who uses Sportscode. In some cases, within the dashboards, you might want to add specific video elements or events to a playlist. You can do this in two different ways. Within Insight, we also have a pre-made playlist editor where you can actually create your own playlist. So if you want to stay in Insight for a period of time, you can create your own playlist. Here, you can edit the rows and edit the names. So you can have the rows coming through as you have set. And also here, you can edit the video and trim depending on the need of the video. This is an area where you can start preloading, ready to export to Sportscode. You can move the clips around, you can change the color, and again, you can edit the video. And then once you're ready, you can send to Sportscode. Or in each one of the widgets, you have an S. Here, you can select specific clips, you can select an organizer, and you can create to a new organizer. So if I put high performance workflows, I can save this and I can send the content directly to Sportscode. Here, you'll have access to the video of the clips that you've just selected. In addition to this, if you wanted to add any other elements, whether it's a visualization to Sportscode, this can be done efficiently. Within Insight, you'll notice that there's an icon on the field widgets. Here, you can drag and drop visualizations directly into Sportscode. This is an efficient way if you're producing any evidence to a coach or players on how they performed. So you can have the visualization and the video connected in a Sportscode playlist. Within Insight, you also have the ability to connect directly to Studio. I can create a new Sportscode package and I can send that content directly to Studio. That enables me to start my telestration process in a really efficient way. Here, I can then start adding any visualizations or any highlights I want on specific players using the telestration tool available. This enables me to provide really fast insights through Studio to share with coaches or players. You can sync this back to Sportscode really efficiently using the same process that you have in Studio, and that will put it back into a Sportscode playlist for you. I can then carry on my analysis, whether it's pre-match opposition or post-match analysis, directly through Insight to Studio and then to Sportscode. Within Insight, you have a really efficient way of providing insights on different opposition. It's very easy to create new dashboards within Insight, and you can name them however you want. Here is an example of me creating a small dashboard very quickly using Insight. So I wanted to create a data table. I want to add a video. And here you've got the video automatically connected with the data table. However, if I wanted to create a custom context, I can use the conditions on the right-hand side. I can choose things like team, roles, zones, and I can choose specific zones of where I want the possession to start. Insight will find those events. You can also change these to sequences and use the same process. I can choose the zones of the start location, and this will return the sequences generated in those areas. You could also add other conditions, multiple zones, and I want to put this as an end zone for example. I can then add specific teams within this. And I could choose the teams I want to analyze. So this example, I'll choose Salzburg. So I'm finding the sequences for Salzburg that start in your own half and end in the final third. I can add a quick visualization of these very quickly by linking widgets to data tables, by using the link widget, select the data table and put selected. There you've got your linked visualization with a data table. You can also add your tracking if you have your tracking video very efficiently by dropping in the tracking widget, clicking on it, and that's going to start using and showing the tracking in use. Here, you can change your overlays, as I said earlier, to other things. If I want to have a look at scopes of teams, so it might be the depth and height of the team. Or you might want to start playing around in other areas using Voronoi or chains. So these are quick examples of how you can use Insight efficiently in a collaborative workflow with Sportscode and Studio. So if I wanted to go to Sportscode from the dashboard I've created, you can automatically create and also select organizers you've been working on and send this directly to Sportscode. Here you can add additional video clips to your playlist for multiple different games. If you have different angles, it's also going to send those angles as well. With the timelines, you have the ability to send all the data from a table directly to a timeline by selecting timeline, Sportscode, and send the content. You'll also notice that you'll have both angles, the tracking angle that we exported at the start, as well as the video. This helps provide more insight for coaches if you're sending this to a coach to analyze the game. So Insight is a very efficient tool to create workflow efficiencies as well as added context. Once you've saved your timelines, you can then go on your journey as a coach or an analyst adding subjective coding. If you're using Insight, you can also change things like your team colors here to add specific colors for specific teams. And also you can add lead and lag times for individual events or all events. These are really important processes to understand to help you provide the length of video and also the context that you look after. Within Insight, we also have the tool where you can actually analyze specific halves of games, where you can actually see the change within the data tables and also the visualizations. These changes will depend on the information available in the first half or second half, or you can adapt this to any 10-minute or 5-minute or minute blocks that you choose. You can add that back to the full game and you're going to get all the data back again from the full games. You can add as many videos in your dashboards as you choose. And also you can have as many different folder types within the dashboards on the left-hand side. On the final part of our high-performance workflow, once you've created your organizers, as we have earlier, I can then choose my organizer here as my high-performance workflow 1. Once I have my organizer available to me, you have the ability to upload this content, whether that's with the visualizations, with the tracking angles, or added studio to illustration. I can upload this directly to Hudl.com. Here, you'll have access to any Hudl.com page you have available to you. So here, I've got a list of all the ones I have access to. I can select it. I can add labels to this. So if I've got custom labels I wanted to add to this, I can. And I can add things like slides, effects, or even instance text. By uploading this to Hudl.com, it enables me to then share this with my team or anyone within an organization. Once you've completed the upload through the organizer, you can open Hudl that will take you directly to your library where you can click on the video that you've just uploaded. Here, you'll have all the clips that I have associated from Insight directly in Hudl.com. Here, you can share comments with players or add additional information if you wanted to share that with coaches, assistant coaches, sports directors, and again, players. So in summary, we've used data as a service. We've also used Insight as the main engine, linking league exchanges and Y-Scout, using event and tracking data through Insight into profiles of opposition or your own performances in Hudl Sportscode organizers or in timelines. We've also provided efficiencies into Studio, where you can then provide feedback through telestration, whether that's for a player, coaches, or any senior leadership. And then directly into Hudl.com in an integrated workflow that provides efficiencies as well as better evidence through better insights. So in this demonstration on these technologies, we've gone through the whole of the workflows within the Hudl ecosystem for pre and post-match analysis. As I said at the start, it'd be great to reflect on how efficient your workflow is at your organization and also how much evidence you're producing to make better decisions. Finally, I want to say thanks for listening. If you've got any questions or you want to get in touch, my name is Austin Fuller. But please also get in touch with your local Hudl representative who can help you on any of these workflows or high performance processes. In summary, what we're trying to do is help you to provide evidence to make better decisions through Insight and provide workflow efficiencies, saving you time within the Hudl ecosystem. This will help you provide sustained success within your organization and provide better decisions faster than ever. I hope you've enjoyed listening and I hope you had a great day.